question I have. There are certain circumstances where there is a divorce, there's a payment and splitting of assets to the tune of like tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And on top of that, an alimony payment.
Yeah.
Isn't there a way where it could be calculated that the assets themselves would assume that alimony payment?
So what's really interesting is
that a fair...
Without realizing it, you've actually just joined the legislative committee of the New York State Bar Association, because a few years ago, the domestic relations law was actually modified to reflect exactly that.
Okay, I think
where they said what they call it is the income creating capacity of assets received in equitable distribution. And now it is one of the factors. When I started my career 25 years ago, that wasn't a factor. And then a lot of lawyers, myself included, were like, wait, she's getting $20 million.
Why did he also
put it in treasuries at 5%?
Done.
She's got an income stream. So the courts and the legislature caught up, and now they say, if you're getting, like I just did a divorce where there was an $800 million marital estate.
Wow. Jesus.
She actually had the audacity to ask for alimony. I mean, and the judge looked at it and went, listen, you're getting $400 million worth of assets. You're going to be all right. You know?
Can you imagine? She got $400 million and she still wanted the guy to keep paying her money, alimony every month. Oh my God. There is no way any man can watch this video and be like, I'm getting married tomorrow. I'm still excited. If there's a man getting married tomorrow, if he watches this whole video, there's no way he's getting excited to get married tomorrow. There is no way, unless he's, I don't know, this has something to be wrong with his head. But this is fair. And this is one of the things most men were afraid of. So you're telling me I'm going to lose half, and on top of losing half of my assets, I'm still going to be required to pay you more money every month for the rest of your life after you just took half of my assets, my properties? Most guys are like, fuck this marriage thing. But he's saying some states are starting to change that. It's like, if you take half of my shit, I don't have to pay you nothing. You already took half, that's it. But I mean, I understand why some guys are quitting marriage, honestly.
Like we're not, that can kick off income if you want it.
So okay, I'm glad that they're making these adjustments. And I think a lot of times you have to put in this legislation because you have to protect women, especially at a time where like they weren't able to work. Like a lot of these laws, I imagine, are put in times where like women aren't even part of the workforce.
That's when a lot of them came about, and then the law is very slow to change, because the way that our law works is it's sort of a living thing that modifies as times and standards change.
As it should, but there is bureaucracy you have to go through, and that's always going to be
right. And by the way, to bring it back to where we started here, that's why I'm a fan of prenups. Because if you're a fair person and your soon-to-be spouse is a fair person, couldn't you have this conversation?
So this is really interesting. And just to caveat it, like, we all understand the emotional reaction to a prenup and this idea of like the impending doom of your marriage before it even starts. So we get that. But it is interesting to attack the prenup, maybe attack is the wrong word, but approach the prenup with this idea that current legislation might not reflect what both parties feel is fair in a relationship, no matter how it goes. And you can, if you love some of the current legislation, put that into the prenup. If you don't, you 100%. Can remove it. So I think that's an interesting argument for it.
That's to me the best argument for it, because here's the other problem. Is there another contract that you've ever heard of that they can change the terms of the contract without even fucking telling you?
That's interesting.
Like, imagine if you bought or leased a car.
This is really...
And they said, oh, by the way, the state just decided we're going to change how the interest rate works and when you have to make the payments. And you're not allowed to go, oh, well, then I'd like to opt out and return the car. And they go, oh, no, you can't do that. Sorry. Like, so there's rules. There's a prenup that was written for all three of your marriages
by the government
that can be changed unilaterally by people other than you and your wife and affect you forever. So to me, my attitude is, listen, you could do a prenup one way and then 3 years later do an addendum and modify it. Like, you can make it a living document, just like you make your will. You make your will at one point, you make it again 5 years later. You change it, it frequently.
I think the perception of it is a person with a lot of assets trying to make sure that the person that they're going to spend the rest of their life with never gets those assets in the event that the marriage doesn't work out, which is the goal of a lot of prenups.
And by the way, not an unfair concept. Like, let's
you're bringing 100 million.
Let's go to an alternate reality.
Wait a minute, I got to peel real quick, because the next thing I do want to talk to you about is like I think we're getting there. Like, what happens with these like huge estates, these people that have like generational wealth? Anyway, can we take like 2-minute break?
All right, man. Shout out to the guys at Flagrant. This was a phenomenal, one of their best interviews ever, videos ever made, because so many guys are gonna watch this. They're gonna catch it, and they're gonna save themselves years of stress and being broke, if anything, and being taken to the ringers in the divorce court. So I hope all men who are considering marriage, who are in love and all these things, thinking about getting married and having kids, watch this video, because this guy provided $1 million free divorce, marriage, prenup consultation, child support consultation on YouTube for free. So shout out to Flagrant. All right, I'll put the full link down below, because as you can see, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes and I can't watch all of it.